ladies and gentlemen. Apologies for that. Coming back online now. Going to finish up the topic of rights. R-I-G-H-T-S. As it pertains to the fiction system. And also I had another topic I was going to talk about. I just finished the newest comments video where I address user comments. And that has to do with the other live stream that I had to abort earlier today, a little bit ago, about trolls and people who do not comply with the terms and conditions of this vessel. It's all a vetting process. And if you are incapable of respecting and honoring the terms and conditions of my vessel, I in turn am not going to honor or respect you. It's that simple. Rule one, rule equal. That's how it works. So, I'm going to address, you know what, I'm actually going to probably address this in a more formal video eventually. I'm going to address an individual named Leon Edwards from Portugal. I don't know if anybody out there is familiar with this individual. I do have a history with him. I'm pretty sure I did do a workshop with him. I've had multiple phone calls with him. Well, multiple makes it sound like a lot. I'd say a handful of phone calls with him. At least a little less than half a dozen. But that was a couple years ago. All right. So as you may know him, he does have a TikTok channel. He does have a YouTube channel. His thing was he was selling DAVID-WYNN Miller's book. And while David was still with us and publicly available, he did do a video call with Leon. And Leon's, well, there was another individual with Leon, which the name escapes me. But David said something like, because Leon was talking about financial difficulties and legal fees, I think, or something like that. And David said, well, you guys ought to sell my book over there. So I guess Leon took that as permission to sell David-WYNN Miller's book for $200 overseas. To publish it and sell it. Physical copies. So that's what he's been doing. And I do now see that Leon does have a TikTok channel where he claims to know how to syntax and is still selling the book and using the book to teach from. Now, as my volition for bringing attention to these things is such that I want to make people aware of pitfalls and landmines, and things that could cause potential harm. This is one of them. I've been very vocal in the last couple of years about saying that DAVID-WYNN Miller's book, I would not recommend it to anyone, much less a beginner, because there are multiple errors on every page. I have shown this in past videos. I have certification of evidence, a continuance of evidence of this. I show the mistakes repeatedly over and over and over again. Yet, for some reason, this guy Leon is claiming to know how to syntax and sells the book as if the book is correct, which it is not. If you think of correct in the context of correct sentence structure, communication, parse, syntax, grammar. Now you may say that's a dichotomy. Because didn't David-WYNN Miller create correct sentence structure? Well, I don't have any proof that he did. I have proof that he published it. But if someone created something and created a set of rules and then turns around and does the exact opposite of that grammatically, then what does that mean? There are a set of rules that David did publish in videos that are consistent across the videos. I and my tutor, Colin Raven, took those rules, extracted the ones that were consistent and didn't contradict each other, and distilled it down into its simplest form to the best of our knowledge, and made it available for everyone so that if you choose to learn the grammar, your grammar is going to be correct in the same way that my grammar is correct. Your syntax is going to be the same as my syntax because we both started from the same base. There is no interpretation. And that's the whole point of correct sentence structure. 1 and 1 is 1. There is no interpretation. There is no guessing. There's no assumption, no presumption, no modification. It's another reason why the ing is a particle of negation. This guy, Leon, uses ing all over his correct sentence structure. Well, I would call it quantum gobbledygook because it's not correct sentence structure. And again, I will do a video. I should probably just stop talking about it until I do the video and actually show the evidence that, at least on the internet and the evidence presented to us, Leon does not have closure on the grammar, i.e., the book he's teaching from is not correct. Therefore, his grammar is not correct. So I don't know if you're learning from him. If you are, it's your choice. But I'm making you aware of this. I don't wish any harm on anyone. As I said, I do have had a personal relationship with this Leon character in the past. I have offered to teach him. But for some reason, he decided not to learn. And I guess go off on his own. I have a guess that it has to do with making money off the book and the fact that I don't support or I don't support nor certify anyone who's selling that book as a grammar technology. Now, if he were to say that he's selling it as a, what's to say, like a relic or an historical document, a piece of history, I'd be okay with that. I mean, it's not mine to say yes or no that he's allowed to or not. I don't have that authority. But if he were to say, I'm selling it as, this is a piece of history, folks. You can own a piece of history for $200. That's cool. Sure. But if you're going to say that you can learn correct sentence structure from that book, then no. That's, with my mind, that's shady. I can't name one person who's ever learned correct sentence structure from that book. I got the book in 2017, direct from David-WYNN Miller himself, and I didn't learn squat from it. Matter of fact, it confused me even more. I was fortunate enough to find a teacher that I had to learn from one-on-one directly, which is 99.9% of the time the way that one would learn this technology, is to have a one-on-one tutor. There really is no other way around it. You have to have a tutor that knows what they're doing and can answer all your questions. The book did come in handy for me later on when I wanted ideas for creating certain document contract post-vessel court venues. It gave me an idea of how to format something. But as far as the grammar goes, no. No, 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 no. Now I am in the process of writing my own book, correct sentence structure, textbook. Have been writing it for a couple years now. Nowhere near to be close to being done because it's going to be written in correct sentence structure and it's going to be translated into plain simple English. Because, I mean, how are you going to learn correct sentence structure from a book written in correct sentence structure unless it's translated into plain simple English? That'd be like trying to learn Portuguese when you are a Chinese speaker and you're just given a Portuguese textbook written in Portuguese and you don't know anything about Portuguese. You would have to have it translated into Chinese so you can learn Portuguese. It's simple logic, folks. But yeah, I am working on a textbook. Probably won't be out for a very long time. And this is why, again, I say that very few people will end up getting closure on this grammar because very few people are willing to put in the work that's necessary. Once people find out how much commitment, dedication, sweat equity, blood, sweat, and tears, how much effort it takes to actually learn this, they just start looking for something easier. And they also come up with all kinds of excuses like, well, I can't afford to learn it. I just don't have time to learn it right now. Until the time comes when they're faced with an insurmountable legal problem, and then they start flailing around and looking for someone to help them, to do it for them, when they could have actually taken steps to begin learning it themselves and really made it a priority. But I'm not one to tell anyone what they should or shouldn't do, because that's a violation of Rule 1, Rule equal. Everyone has a choice. And again, that brings us back to the concept of rights. All right. If you really think about it, with the fiction system, you have no rights because they can be taken away at any time. Just as they're given to you by the fiction, they can be taken away by the fiction. And if someone comes and says, well, God gave us unalienable rights, again, that's an authority above you that has given you rights. Violation of Rule 1, Rule equal, number one. Number two, you're getting it from an uncertifiable imaginary position of authority. An all-powerful, non-tangible concept. That's like saying, I have the right to, let's see, what could I say? I have a right to smash every windshield on every car on this block with my baseball bat. Because the mighty Thor imbued me with the unalienable right of being able to smash windows with baseball bats. It's the same thing. Let's bring it back down to earth. Let's bring it back down to the grammar. If you decide to choose to learn correct sentence structure, if you decide to open your mind and open your heart and your spirit to learning this technology, if you empty your vessel to fill it up with correct sentence structure knowledge, then you will be able to create, or you will have the choice to create, a correct sentence structure construct biosphere with you as the authority. It's outside of the fiction. There's no need for rights, no need for laws, no need for legalities. Just the balance of the honor and the grace, position of peace, neutrality, and the maintenance of Rule 1, Rule equal. That's how it works. The fiction system wants nothing to do with it. And will want nothing to do with it. Why do you think you hear stories about courtrooms being cleared, entities disappearing, cases going away? It's because the fiction, fact and fiction can never meet. These things can become available to you if you decide to learn the grammar. If you take it upon yourself to put the work in. Very, very few people will do this. And so many people do run into cognitive dissonance too, I find, through teaching many different students across the board. Interestingly enough, now that I do have this type of experience, I have found that I've gotten a lot of people coming from Russell J. Gould's construct. Over the years, they've trickled in. They find out that things aren't quite what they seem with the guy. That it's very chaotic, and the grammar closures just are not there. I've seen people who have been with Russell J. Gould for 2 years, involved in his construct, taking grammar classes with the Syntax Learning Center or whatever, for 2 years, cannot write a correct sentence structure and cannot syntax. After 2 years of study, I put them on the spot and said, syntax this. Can't do it. They wrote out a correct sentence structure, their version of a correct sentence structure for me. I said, read it backwards. They said, I can't. 2 years. Those individuals who come to me to learn, I find that come from that construct, for some reason, are just not able to surmount that obstacle for some reason. They're fond of saying, we want to help the people. They want to help the people. When I hear, as a good friend of mine and a dear brother said to me, to paraphrase, when he hears the words, we want to help the people, that's usually involved in some sort of money-making scam, some sort of parasitic construct. And it's true. Because the way I navigate, I help individuals. Do you want my help? Do you want to learn the grammar? Yes or no? No? Okay, bye. Blessings to you and yours. If you want to learn the grammar, I'm here for you. It's that simple. That's why I teach one-on-one workshops. That's why I don't teach groups. Because one must help themselves in order to help others. It's like, I'll use another mixed martial arts or, analogy. I'm very fond because it's very apt. It fits. If you enjoy watching mixed martial arts, you enjoy watching high-level fighters fight. You watch the martial arts and the movements and how tough they are and knocking people out and submitting them. And then you say, I want to bring this to the world. I want to help the people learn this art. But I don't want to learn it myself. I just want to make people aware of it. And I want to charge a membership fee so that people can come in and watch videos about how to do it. But I myself couldn't fight my way out of a wet paper bag. But still, I'm going to teach other people how to do it. It makes no sense. So long story short, if you want help, if you want to learn the grammar, I'm here for you. Email me, jasonmatthewd17@gmail.com. I will help you. If you don't want to learn the grammar, well, I appreciate your viewership. I appreciate your interest. If you're ever ready to learn the grammar, you know where to reach me. Laura Young says, hey, I got a question for you. Okay? There's absolutely no need to preface. Just ask the question, I will answer it if I'm able to. If I know the answer, I will definitely answer it. If I don't, I'll say I don't know. Grammar questions are preferred. But if it's not a grammar question and it's grammar related, that's cool too. Fire away. By the way, Laura Young, if you're not already subscribed, I recommend that you like this video, subscribe to the channel. You can join up on the membership if you like what I do. and support the channel, so on and so forth. Share the videos. There's over 500 videos on here so that you can learn correct sentence structure on your own or begin learning on your own, of course. But then, of course, I have a curriculum as well in the confidential. I have a correct sentence structure course that you can take to learn it. Once you get a base of grammar where I can certify that you have a rudimentary closure on the grammar and you can handle yourself, there are also other things that I can teach you in the confidential, such as flag mechanics, postal mechanics, banking mechanics, how to create C-pass-C treaty, fate writ volition claim, domicile claim, any type of claim you want, really. But first, the grammar comes first. Like over the years, I've had so many people. I had a guy in, okay, I'm not going to say where. There was a guy that claimed to have a website that brought in thousands of dollars every month selling David Wynn Miller's book. And he sold it for like $300. He offered to give it to me, give the website to me, so that I could get the money. Or we could share the money, whatever. But he said, I don't know anything about grammar, but you do. Would you like the website? And I said the exact same thing to him that I said earlier in this video about Leon Edwards. The David Wynn Miller book is great as a historical document. If you want to advertise it as a historical document, that's one thing. But to advertise it as a correct sentence structure textbook, that's just blatant mislabeling. It's not correct. Long story short, I turned him down. I said, if you really value this stuff and you believe in what you're saying, if you learn the grammar, we'll work together. He didn't want to learn the grammar. Cool, that's his choice. I turned it down. That's my point. And I've gotten other offers from other people who wanted to create grand websites for me. A couple years ago, I almost got involved with something called the Purple Thumb community. I did for a minute, but it didn't turn out. I find that those things don't usually turn out. As I said, and as my dear friend and brother said, when someone wants to help the people, it's usually a money-making scheme related to a parasitic organization. And one thing that I did with the Purple Thumb community was I was helping them to develop their correct sentence structure live life claim. And one of my terms and conditions was that they would never sell it. And then they turn around and sell it. So there's proof of that right away. The cosmos will help those who help themselves. So it must be done on an individual basis first. Laura Young, I am still waiting for your question. Or maybe she vanished. Maybe I already answered her question. Who knows? If anybody out there has any questions, I ask that you just go ahead and ask. And I've said this before too. If you have any type of trepidation about coming forward to ask questions on this platform, how do you think you're going to perform under duress when you are being detained by a fiction vassalite? If you're having trouble commenting, or if you get your feelings hurt, if I criticize your grammar, then how are you going to behave when you're actually in a situation where you are in imminent danger of being harmed? See what I'm saying? I think that's why very few people will actually learn this stuff. Because as it turns out, it actually is pretty hard. I think psychologically, it's a very intense challenge for most people who are perhaps used to being spoon-fed things and handed things, gifted things, having things come easy, perhaps, I don't know. This is not one of those things. This is something that you actually do have to learn yourself. You do have to put forth effort to learn it. It's all you. What you put in is what you get out. And if you're not willing to put 100% into it, then you're not going to get 100% out of it. Everyone must carry their own water. I'm not going to carry your water for you. I can teach you different ways to carry your water. I can tell you how to walk the most efficient way that I know of to safely carry the water and not get tired and be able to make it from point A to point B safely without coming to harm. But I'm not going to carry it for you. I had someone tell me the other day that they thought that the way I presented things on the YouTube channel, they actually, they came to me and they wanted to work with me to help bring correct sentence structure to the public. And I basically said, well, it's already to the public. If you do a Google search on quantum grammar or correct sentence structure, my YouTube channel is going to come up. It's free. Over 500 videos. You can choose to learn it or not. And they said, yeah, but the presentation, you could present it in a different way that would get more people interested. And that just didn't compute to me. Because either you're interested or you're not interested. When you start tailoring presentations in such a way that, it kind of implied that they were thinking of presenting it as something it's not, which I'm not in agreement with at all. Sort of like the way this fellow, what was his name? Edward Sloan, a long time ago, was a member of something called the Red Thumb Club. You newbies out there probably have no idea what that is. But it was a club that was authorized by Russell J. Gould many years ago. And this person came from that club. And they had been insulting me, threatening me, this, that, and the third. They didn't like me because I wasn't subordinate to them. I wasn't subordinate to Russell J. Gould. I was my own entity. I was autonomous, as I still am. I'm still here, and I'm growing. My base is growing. But they didn't like that. They wanted me to be a part of their club. They wanted me to come under them, which there's no way. That violates Rule 1, Rule Equal. In any case, Edward Sloan contacted me and said, would you be interested in submitting a question under your name to create questions for a podcast that Russell J. Gould's going to go on so that you can make the chief look good? Implying that the chief looked bad at that period of time, and that having me using my correct name, because at that time in 2021, I think it was, people knew who I was. I had a pretty good base by then. I think I had like 2,000 subscribers, maybe 3. So I had a name in that community. That if I would ask questions that would cause the chief to look good, and they're coming from me, then we would be able to bring the chief forward and we could save the world. And again, if you want to help the people, that's a money-making scheme. That's a parasitic organization. And I dare anyone out there, I challenge anyone out there to prove that that whole Rachel Daria Prince construct is anything but a money-making scheme. But I thought it was funny because the way that he phrased it was that the chief looked bad and they needed someone like me to make him look good. So, of course, if I remember correctly, my Kuleana back to Edward Sloan was, if you want to learn the grammar, apply for a workshop. If Russell wants to learn the grammar, he can also apply for a workshop. But I don't talk to people through intermediaries. If you want to talk to me, you contact me. We speak one-on-one because 1 and 1 is 1. We can speak live life claimant to live life claimant. I'm not going to speak to an errand boy to speak to someone else. That's also a violation of Rule 1, Rule Equal. I guess Laura Young does not have a question for me. So I do thank her for her comment because she's the only individual that has commented so far. Wyatt's back. Welcome back, my friend. Too bad you missed out on a lot. I suggest when you watch this back, skip through the first 5 minutes or so. It's just nothing. And then I come on after about 5 or 6 minutes and talk about some very interesting stuff. Yeah. So that's the long and short of it. I found in over 25,000 hours of experience in performance of correct sentence structure, talking with hundreds of people all over the earth, teaching hundreds of people, that the people that learn this learn it on a one-to-one basis. No community, no group of people. It doesn't work like that. If you learn it one individual at a time, then it will increase exponentially. So, for example, if Wyatt chooses to learn the grammar and he becomes a student, he empties his vessel so that he comes with an open mind and he's open to what I'm teaching, and he learns it and gets closure on it. Then he begins performing in real life using correct sentence structure and having successes. The people around him are going to notice, hey, Wyatt's having successes. And then they're going to be, the ones that are open to it are going to be magnetized to him. Hey, Wyatt, can you teach me that? And then Wyatt, because he does have closure on the grammar, will have the capacity to teach them and share the knowledge. And he can do that in whatever way he chooses. And then maybe he teaches someone who gets closure on it, that they stick with it and get committed. And then in turn, they increase it exponentially because their circles see their successes and so on and so forth. That's how it works. I've never seen one person attend a 9-hour David-WYNN Miller seminar and get closure on the grammar. Matter of fact, I can pretty much certify that no one got closure on it during that 9-hour seminar. What comes first, chicken or the egg? What comes first? Chicken or the egg? Yeah, I don't know the answer to that one, really. Can't say that I've ever given it any hard thought, though. All right. Well, also, egg is no contract, so I'll go with chicken. That's my answer. I'll put it in a grammatical frame. Egg is no contract because it's a vowel in front of a consonant, so my answer is chicken. So that's what's coming up. I'm going to be making a video looking at Leon Edwards and his websites and his selling of David-WYNN Miller's book as a correct sentence structure textbook, and to basically categorize it and label it as a pitfall or a landmine to watch out for. It's your choice, just putting that knowledge out there and certifying it. Of course, I'm going to give evidence as to my claims. I'm not just going to ask you to take my word for it. I'm going to show you evidence. The same evidence that I showed that David-WYNN Miller's documents have errors all over them. His website has errors all over them. His book has errors on every page. Same way I did that. Same way I did it for Russell's grammar. There's errors all over it. Same thing. That he's modified the flag, at war with the people and all that stuff. That they're all fiction concepts. Same thing. Same thing with Mark lowercase k. I'm just letting people know about the pitfalls, so that if they view my channel, they can't say they weren't aware of it, unless they're lying. You're aware of it, and you go follow it anyways. That's your choice, and the cosmos will cognize your choice. And you will get the pertinent conclusion to your karmic Rule 1, Rule Equal performance. You know, Wyatt Hunter is, I'm sure you've shared your correct name with me before. I apologize, I don't remember it. You know, I'm over 50 years old, so that's why I write everything down and keep meticulous records with people that I do consults with. I don't know if I've done a consult with you or not. Again, apologies. But you're a rare anomaly, man, where I hope that you do decide to apply for a workshop sometime, because I feel like you would be a very good candidate for being someone who actually would follow through, commit, put in the hard work, the blood, sweat, and tears, and sweat equity, and get closure on this grammar and actually be successful with it. I just get that sense. I don't have any certification of that. It's just a sense I get from the emotional, well, implied emotional content of your comments, the subject of them, and your volition. For one thing, you don't get butthurt. Even though I may have poked you a little bit, or, you know, tried a couple things, you know, said a couple goofy things to you, you don't get upset about it. And that says a lot about a person's temperament. If you have the correct temperament, then I feel like you do have the correct temperament for this grammar. So, man, I do hope you someday apply for a workshop. I feel like you're a good candidate, man. Plus, you live in one of my favorite locations in the world, and that's Tennessee. I'm seriously considering relocating to Nashville, or outside of Nashville somewhere. Love the area, love the music, all right? I know this has nothing to do with the grammar, but I'll just say that I am a huge, huge fan of Tom Bukovac, Uncle Larry. If you've never seen his YouTube channel, check it out. I just went to, a few weeks back when I was traveling, I went to Groon Guitars down there in Nashville. And I got myself a brand spanking new Fender Telecaster. I first had a Telecaster when I was 18 years old, and then had it for about 10 years, or a little less than 10 years. And like an idiot, I sold it. But now I finally got one again. And man, what a beautiful instrument. But yeah, that makes you A-OK in my book. You're in Tennessee. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I see we have, 7, 8 viewers here. We kicked off with Laura Young saying, hey, I got a question for you, but then they never asked any question. And then Wyatt came on, anyone else of you 7 viewers have any questions, anything you'd like to say to me, I highly recommend you go back and watch the other stream that I did a little bit ago where I talk about the terms and conditions of this channel, and then I correlate that with knowing the terms and conditions of every scenario that you walk into. Because there's always terms and conditions. To assume that you can behave however you want to in any given scenario is exactly that. It's an assumption. It's contingent upon you to know the rules, to know the terms and conditions, especially if you are a guest aboard a vessel, like you are here. You're a guest here. It's just like, think of it as if you're walking into someone's house. As I said earlier, would you use adult language, vulgar language in front of small children? Would you talk about adult things in front of small children? Or would you observe that there are implied terms and conditions? It's the same thing here. Same thing. And if you think that you don't have to honor those terms and conditions, well, you'll be walking the plank, matey. Going once, going twice. Anybody who has a question, a comment, a critique, a compliment, anything at all, don't be scared, homie. Jump on in. You must be here for a reason. It can't just, it can't possibly just be to hear me yakking about whatever. You can participate too. I teach my son things I learn on the grammar. He's 10. I don't send him to regular fiction school. I try get better to train. Is it? Okay. I don't know too much about the fiction homeschooling system, Jesse. I'm going to try and remember your name for next time. Isn't it true that if you homeschool a child, in order to be in compliance with the fiction system educational policies, you still have to use their curriculum? Like they have a minimum curriculum base sorry about that you have to teach your child. Is that correct? Like if you're homeschooling a child, you still have to use the fiction system's curriculum base. You can't just teach them whatever you want. You have to maintain certain fiction standards, basically. Is that true? Ouch. I'd have to guess that it is. You still there, Jesse? Oh, well. Does anybody else out there have an example? Oh, I teach him from what I learned from your videos, and David's only no fiction at all from Rockefeller School. So, are you saying that your 10-year-old son does not learn anything like a curriculum, like they don't have an online school thing they do, like they're not enrolled in the fiction system at all? That's very interesting. I've never heard of such a thing. That's cool, though. That's great. That's great. I don't know too much about it. See, my impression was that if you don't enroll your child in a fiction school system and you choose to homeschool them, there is a certain aptitude that they must complete each year, just as they would in the fiction. You know, you have to get certain grades on certain tests to be able to go from grade 1 to grade 2 to grade 3 to grade 4. But it's the same thing with homeschooling, that it's like truancy, right? If you're involved in the fiction system, if you pay fiction taxes, so on and so forth, if you don't go to their fiction school, you will get fined, you will get sanctioned. But if you choose to homeschool them, then there are certain tests and aptitudes that you must complete so that you satisfy the fiction system to say, well, okay, this child's just not being left alone and they're not being neglected, because that could be considered a form of child abuse. The fiction system could consider it a form of child abuse. I don't consider it a form of child abuse. I would only consider it child abuse if the child wasn't being educated at all. But like they want a well-rounded education so that the child can become a good, 9 to 5 worker bee, right? So they want to know that the child has a certain aptitude of mathematics, a certain aptitude of plain English, a certain aptitude of biology, so on and so forth. That's what I'm talking about. So that's very interesting that you're saying that none of that applies to you or your son. I mean, more power to you. You are the first person I've ever spoken to who's claimed that. I know people that have tried to do that, and this was years ago, like maybe 20, 25 years ago. People took their child out of school, and then they ended up having their child taken away from them by Child Protective Services because the child wasn't in school for like a year and a half and wasn't up to speed of the education level of the other children their same age. And so the child was taken away from the parent, and the parent got sanctioned either. I think they went to jail for a little bit for that. So that's interesting. Maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I should make this video private because I don't want. I don't want to draw attention to your situation. If that's the case, any undue attention from the fiction to your situation, certainly. Because I don't know if they do or they don't. But there are things that lead me to believe that the fiction legal system does keep tabs on me and my channel and what I say on this channel. I know they do on LinkedIn. Every week I get a notification that I appeared in this many searches, and then it tells me where the searchers work and what their position are. And just about every so often, every once a month, it'll say Supreme Court Justice or Department of Defense or the Pentagon or something goofy like that. It's hilarious. So I do know that they do keep tabs on me. But as far as I know, they don't ever interfere. But I definitely wouldn't want to draw attention to you, Jesse, or your son. So that's interesting. So let me know, are you okay with me keeping this video public? Or actually what I could do after it gets uploaded and all that and YouTube processes it, I can just excise this part. This last part, I can just cut it. Split it out, the whole part about the school thing and your son. I can do that if you want me to. Let me know. Does your son know the answer to the question, why is a mouse when it spins? Does anybody know the answer to why is a mouse when it spins? You stand in faith. I'm not sure what that means, Jesse. Well, I don't know what you mean by faith. If I had to guess, I think you mean faith in a spiritual way, which is different than the faith that I participate with. The faith that I participate with is a fact of my correct sentence structure dictionary. It means something a little different than any type of spiritual, religious faith. It's more of a practical, finite meaning. But thank you. Thank you for that permission. I'll keep it up then. Hello, Birdie. So there is no standards manual available. I know 3 different ways to write my name. The standard manual, like what you could consider my standard manual, Stefan, would be if you look at my correct sentence structure playlist, first of all, there are almost 70 videos on there giving closure to how to write correct sentence structure. One of those videos, or actually multiple videos, show how to use colons with correctness, if you choose to. That is my manual. There's also specific videos on how to write a correct sentence structure name. So I'd have to think that, Stefan, you must be new to this channel. Because if you're asking that question, then perhaps you haven't really delved too deep into the over 500 videos on this channel. So let me look at what you wrote here. Colon, Stefan, colon, space. All right, so the correct way to write that out of your choices is the first one. Because it literally means for the Stefan of the Kinney, period. That is the correct way to write your name, your correct name. And if the platform allows it, if you're writing it within a correct sentence structure, you may also underline it. But do not underline the first colon in your sentence. As a matter of fact, depending upon the scenario, you wouldn't even have to use a colon if it's within a correct sentence structure. But again, this is all part of the grammar technology. As I see that you are a beginner and your grasp of it is theoretical at this point, there's plenty of material on this channel for you to study. 3 main playlists: correct sentence structure playlist, PARSE playlist, and syntax playlist. There's also a mini class playlist you can study. And one of those is how to create a correct sentence structure. which would answer your question. I teach each element of correct sentence structure from multiple different angles in these over 500 videos. So if you really want to learn this stuff, if you're serious about it, you can teach yourself using this YouTube channel. Outside of that, if you would like me to be your tutor, you can contact me at jasonmatthewg17@gmail.com. Send me an email, apply for a workshop. I do have a curriculum. It's like walking right into a classroom, except it's one-on-one, just you and I. If you email me and apply for the workshop, I will schedule you a 10 to 15 minute video consultation. Please make sure your video and audio are working correctly. I provide the venue. We both agree on the time. At that point, when we meet in the confidential, you can ask me whatever you want to ask me, because I will not answer questions about confidential workshops here. If you want to talk about it, I prefer to talk about it face-to-face in a video consult on a geometric level playing field. So you can say whatever you want to say, ask me whatever you want to ask me, and of course, same goes for me. And then we can figure out if this is something that you are with the volition of being committed to. And we can go from there. You're very welcome, Stefan. I stand in honor and try to be as factual as I can to my best knowledge and do no harm to anyone. I train myself and my son to do just that and always get better. Knowledge growth never ends. That is correct, Jesse. That is correct. Does this make sense? Michael-Anthony. As far as I know, Michael, it does. I mean, it makes sense in what sense? What you wrote is not correct sentence structure. The colons are not correct. Your capitalization, your casing of letters is inconsistent. Welcome, Michael Rivota. I see that you're new here. As I told Stefan, if you wish to study this on your own, there are over 500 videos here for you to study. It's up to you to sift through them. I put the thousands of hours in creating them, editing them, and publishing them. It's up to you to navigate through. There are 3 main playlists. Correct sentence structure is one. Parse is another. Syntax is another. Those are the 3 main ones. For beginners, I suggest you go to the mini class playlist, where you can find about an hour video on every facet of correct sentence structure. You can start there and then branch out. If you would like to learn from me as a tutor with over 5 years of experience teaching hundreds of people all over the earth, email me at jasonmatthewg17@gmail.com and apply for a workshop. Please include your correct name. If you do that, I will schedule you a 10 to 15 minute video consultation. Please make sure your video and audio are working. If you have any questions about the workshops, you can ask them there. I will not address questions about the confidential workshops in this comments field because they are confidential. However, I will answer any grammar question you want me to. So there you go. Three. I have no idea, Michael Revolta, what you are writing. What you are writing is fiction babble. That is not correct sentence structure. There are no adjectives in correct sentence structure. Facts are not possessive in correct sentence structure. Meaning, in correct sentence structure, 1 and 1 is 1. One word, one meaning, one positional, one function, one loadial, one function, one fact, one function. A fact is a fact. A possessive is a possessive. So there are 4 positionals in correct sentence structure. 4 of, with, and by. For is the cause. Of is the concern. With is possessive. And then by is authority. With the never, ever, ever comes after for the Michael. Never. The cause of the sentence, for the, is always followed by the concern of the sentence, which is of the. So it's for the facts, of the facts, are with the facts, of the facts, with the facts, by the facts. Or a shorter version would be for the facts, of the facts, are with the facts, by the facts, period. If you're writing a name or a title and there is no verb in it, then it's for the fact, of the fact, period. I.e., for the Jason-Matthew of the glass, period. For the Michael of the Revolta, period. Colon, Michael, colon, space, Revolta, period. Colon, Jason-Matthew, colon, space, glass, period. That's how you would correctly write the name. And again, I have multiple videos on this. Michael, you're more than welcome to study them. And I'd like to bring this back to what I was saying at the beginning about it. It's just apparent to me as an observation, especially after doing those 33 live streams, that when people really find out and realize how difficult this stuff is and how much work it actually takes, how much investment of now space and time and sweat equity and value and effort that it takes, blood, sweat, and tears, the majority of them just say, nope, I just don't have it in me to do it. It is what it is. It's a choice. But those of you out there who prioritize it and make it a commitment and follow it through to the end, those are the few, the brave, the ones that will be successful with it. And this is why the fiction system has no concerns about quantum grammar, because they know that not enough people at any one time are ever going to get closure on it in order to be any type of threat and able to tear that system down. There's just not enough people committed enough to do it. You can do it on an individual basis, and that's what I said from the beginning. Individually, you can choose to learn it, and individually, you can stop the trespass for you and your family and maybe your friends. And then exponentially, that will spread out. But there's just not enough people to do it on a mass basis. That's my experience. Revolta's surname is an incorporated name. I have an issue with that. Well, it's up to you. I mean, the value of a thing is what you put into it. If you think Revolta is some sort of, has, some sort of meaning, outside of being a name, that's up to you. If you create a correct sentence structure live claim, you don't have to put that on there. You can put your name whatever you want. You can change your name to, not change your name, but you can update your name to :John, :space Doe. Or you can just use one name, :Michael, period. Or you can create all kind, whatever you want to create on your live claim. If that's how you want people to talk to you and contract with you, that's completely up to you. I used the name that the fiction that was on my fiction, not mine, but on a fiction birth certificate. I used a version of that name because for the ease of communication. I don't give two shits what people think about it, if it's incorporated or it's a slave name or whatever it is. That's their value. That's the way they think. That's the value they ascribe to it. Has no bearing on what I do. For me, it's just a set of words that people can say that I know they're talking to me. And if they want to contract with me correctly, they will use it. And it's copyright, copy claim to me. Period, end of story. That's all it means to me. I don't put any other depth to it at all. Any other meaning to it is usually given through fiction. And that has no concern. That's no concern of mine at all. Holy cow. Michael Revolta, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 messages retracted. That's never a good sign. Wow. What's going on, man? That's right, Jesse. And again, that's why I say I think you are a great candidate to learn this stuff because you're so open and transparent about things, man. And that's another thing that people, you know, sort of a obstacle or a challenge that a lot of people aren't able to surmount. Of course, Michael, if you want to stay in the confidential, you can email me and apply for a grammar workshop. That's the function of the port known as jasonmatthewg17@gmail.com. That's the purpose of it. If you're serious about the grammar, if you want to learn the grammar, you want to take the course, you want to apply for it, there is an application process. Just email me and then I'll set up the consultation. I'll provide the location. We can agree on the time. And then you can ask me whatever you want to in the confidential. And it will stay in the confidential as long as you abide by the terms and conditions. Which, it's very simple. Position of peace and neutrality. Maintenance of rule 1, rule equal. Balance of the honor and the grace. And I've said to other people in the past, you know, it's like you can contract in the fiction with honor and grace. You can make and honor a contract with a handshake and a nod. Everything is contract. It's when someone tries to use language and grammar against you to trespass on you or to rape you in some way. That's when correct sentence structure comes in. But we contract every day in the fiction. We're contracting right now using plain English fiction babble. It's the volition that's the most important thing. Thank you very much.